Look at that fish, and the chatterbait fell right out. Oh. That is awesome. That is awesome. What's going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen, and I want to talk to you about how to sight fish. Seems pretty simple, but it's not. There's a lot of details to it, so stay tuned. All right, so sight fishing. So when I say sight fishing, in this video, I'm not talking about spawning. I'm not going to go out to a bed and put a camera on it and show you guys how to catch them off the bed. I'm talking about getting your equipment and getting your stuff prepared for any type of sight fishing, whether it be spawning, shallow water, in the grass, in the cover, back up in a creek. Any time of the year that they're super shallow, you can sight fish and catch fish. Just ask John Cox of Major League Fishing and FLW. That son of a gun is probably one of the best sight fishermen on the planet. I don't think he learned how to read a fish finder until just a couple of years ago. I mean, it's just, he never needed it because he was always shallow. But so what I want to talk about is what I do and what you can do to get yourself ready for sight fishing. Okay, so the first thing I think about when I'm thinking I've got to go and look at these fish and try to catch them is they're going to be looking at me. What can I do to break up my outline, to break up what I'm doing, to not spook them? First things first, I got to get rid of the red hat. So I'll take my red hat off. I have a camo hat that I keep with me. Stays in my truck. And I usually wear a camo hat or some type of a light colored hat if I'm in a boat or something like that. This is a Special Ops Survivor hat. This is, you guys remember a few years ago I wore this hat for 6 months to support that nonprofit. I won't get into that. I'll just leave a link down in the description. But you got to break up your outline. Camouflage is great. There are companies out there that make fishing camouflage. Matter of fact, this is one right here. This is Realtree Aspect. My truck is wrapped in it as well, but they come in several different colors. This shirt is actually you can get it on Walmart.com just recently. So just some type of a camo to break it up. I'm not wearing my red PFD. I'm wearing a gray one, so a lighter color PFD, light pants, and then if you're bank fishing, you walk lightly. You know, wear a pair of shoes that you're not going to make a whole lot of noise. Be very, very careful when you're approaching the water. So that's your clothing. And yes, it does make a difference, I promise. So next is your equipment. If you're going to be sight fishing, you've got to have a good pair of sunglasses. These, I think, what are these? Hold on a minute. So I don't have a sunglass sponsor, so I got 5 different types of sunglasses. These are Wiley X's. My favorite ones are pretty expensive. They're the Blue Otter optical ones. Those are by far my favorite, but Wiley X's are good. Costas are good. Oakleys, I've got a pair of Oakleys. 9s are really good. Just some type of a polarized sunglasses to be able to break the glare off. I dive into like colors and that kind of stuff, lens colors, but that really doesn't make a huge difference unless you're doing it all the time, and then you kind of change colors. The general aspect is if you're looking through it, an amber color works really good most of the time, especially in cloudy weather. Gray color works good when it's really sunny. And then green, when you got a little bit of green on the water, a good green lens works good too. But that's as far as I'm going to go with that. You can really dive into some detail when it comes to lens color. Sunglasses. Now, being quiet, being stealthy. You don't want to have a boat that makes a lot of noise. I love a kayak because a kayak you can really anchor down and sit still and really work your way quietly through things. If you're in a big boat, you got to remember, stay off your trolling motor as much as you possibly can. Turn your electronics off. completely shut your ping down on your electronics. I would leave my navigation on just because I love maps. I'm a map nerd. But definitely turn your ping off. Try to be as quiet as you can. Be quiet on your feet. Don't bang your trolling motor around. I'm trying to think of anything else. Just think about it. Just think about what you're doing and try not to be too noisy. Now, casts. Actually, let's go back. Let's talk about sun. So ideally you want the sun at your back. The only problem is that your shadow will spook fish. So I like to keep the sun away from the directly behind me and have it behind me but off to the side a little bit when I'm sight fishing and stuff like that. If you ever see like a gar or a carp and it's a sunny day that's up in the shallows, just take your fishing rod and put it in the air. Chad Hoover did this. I watched him do it. Put your fishing rod up in the air and just wave it between the fish and the sun and throw the shadow of that fishing rod across that fish and watch it bolt. It's just your fishing rod. It's not a big shadow, but it will spook. Really got to pay attention to that shadow, you know, and just keep the sun from getting between you and the fish. Even, you know, even on your cast and stuff like that, you've got to keep that shadow off of those fish. So next is your casts. You know, one of the biggest things that I have watched John Cox do and a couple of the other guys that are really good at shallow water sight fishing is they keep their casts really compact. They don't do a lot of arm waving and stuff like that. They keep their hands real close, little pitches, little flips, little sidearm pitches, but they try not to make too much movement with their rod or their hands. Try to be as still as you can, even on your boat. Just little twitches of the wrist, and that's it. Just watch them one day. It's amazing to see how accurate they can be. Of course, they practice all the time, but how accurate they can be with just a little flip of the wrist. Now, your entry, you want to make low casts and be able to make as little splash as possible. These fish probably already see you. You've got to be able to surprise them and get them to bite. And last but not least is your fishing line. If you are fishing shallow and you're sight fishing for these fish, they probably will be able to see braided line. I know there's a lot of guys out there that use 100% braid all the time and they do catch fish. I just feel as though when the water's super clear, when you're up that shallow and things like that, you really need a good fluorocarbon. I always have a Brazex or Tatsu from Seagar on my rods. A Brazex is probably what I use the most because it's really durable. Tatsu is really good because it holds knot strength. It has really good knot strength. It has really good castability, and it's just a good clean line. I always make sure I got fluorocarbon. I try to get away with the lightest fluorocarbon that I can, but if I'm fishing shallow and there's a lot of cover, I very seldom drop below 17-pound test. It's just a confidence thing, I guess. But fluorocarbon line, we're not going to talk about baits because you can use just about anything. I think I covered it all. That's all that I can think of. I hope you guys learned something from this video. I hope that when you're out there and you start to see fish shallow, you can back away just a little bit, regroup, put everything together, and go and just stalk these fish and have a good time catching them. The one I caught at the beginning of this video, they're just about ready to pull up and spawn. That one was just off of a bedding area. Caught it on a chatterbait, but man, oh man, there's a 10-pounder over in that pocket right over there that I'm going to catch tomorrow while we're filming a TV show. But anyway, like I always say, guys, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out of the water. Go out and catch some fish and have a great day. We'll see you.